Hello everyone, and welcome to my new Let's Look at Suits, a business RPG. Now this game is on Steam for, I think they're around 40 to 60 cents. I guess I probably could look right now. It is, let's see, 59 cents right now, so yeah, 60 cents. And I don't know how long it's going to stay that way. I didn't look at that. I know it's right on the page. But the point here is, this is only 60 cents. If you like I don't know about JRPGs. If you ever played Earthbound, then you're going to like this game if you like the sense of humor. The sense of humor is, I don't want to say nihilistic, but it is not optimistic. It is about the business world. If you ever watched Dilbert, or like the animated series, or I guess if you read the comics in the newspaper, I guess maybe. It's a bit more cutthroat than Dilbert, of course, because it's, you know, an RPG, that there is combat. But it is kind of a, I really want to say a mocking about our capitalist society. I guess you could maybe construe it as such, but, well, it's a unique game, that if you like the story and don't mind the RPG, you know, layout, you will love it. Because it made me laugh quite a few times, only in the first 20 minutes. I'm going to go right up until the first little dungeon, because there is one little gripe I have with the game, and it's just a small one. But I don't know if that's really a big one or not. Is in the first dungeon, there are a lot of random encounters. This game does employ random encounters. Not all the time. It's only, from what I see, only in the dungeons. But, you know, it can be a little annoying, because eventually you out-level things and they just don't do damage, which is great, but it kind of begs the question of why am I even fighting these? And then you get to the boss and then you realize, oh yeah, I needed all that experience. Maybe I shouldn't have skipped all that crap. But, you know, all in all, the game's not difficult. It's really not, as long as you're not lazy and just skip fights. And it's all keyboard driven. It's, you know, the arrow keys, space or enter, escape for the different menus. The keys, the mouse, excuse me, is not really used at all. Now you're going to either like the art style or you hate it. It's hand-drawn, from what I understand, which, you know, some people are going to go, well, that's lazy. Okay, one of the farthest things from lazy. Now you might argue it doesn't look the best, but it's not lazy, okay? It has its own charm. I actually quite like it. Beyond that, it's a tutorial. I can't really make a tutorial a whole heck of a lot more interesting than it is. You can look into crates. Sometimes you'll find water, bottled water, sandwiches, money. Yeah, don't ask me why people just leave things in crates. They do. And another great thing about this game is if you look at almost anything in the game world, there's usually a description for it. And it does pay to be explorative. Because I'm gonna guess the door on the left is supposedly locked. Because, well, this right here wouldn't make a whole lot of sense if it wasn't. Considering I think he gives you a key here. Yes, the teacher's office key. Which is apparently what you even needed in the first place, even though I didn't really look at it or even care, I just kind of figured it out blindly. Now, there is some political commentary. Now, like I said, it's a bit capitalist, anti-capitalist, I guess you might want to say, but I don't think it's really anti-capitalist. I think it's more just one of those poking fun, like satire things, which I always enjoy good satire. Some people take satire a little too seriously and just, you know, hate something because it's making fun of something. In my opinion, that's one of the better forms of comedy, if you can do it right, and this game does it fairly decently. It's, you know, it's pretty good. It's not the best satire in the world, but it's certainly far, far from the worst. I don't know how many people worked on this game. I haven't got to the credits yet. But if this is only one person, that's a big if, because I don't know yet. But if this was only one person that made this game, this is a really, really good game. Now, if you had like 10 people working on it, it might be a little bit different. But, I mean, it's still a fun game, all in all. And here's where we start getting to the, some funny scenes here. These are your graduating classmates. Don't ask me why they're a little short. As you're going to find out, they're going to come up short. I don't remember when that was, but I remember something happening here. And you think I would remember that, considering I just played it. Not but 20 minutes ago, if that. You're not gonna want to watch this. Yeah, they came up short. They came up wanting. And just like the business world, it's dog eat dog. You benefit at the expense of everybody else. Fun times. Fun times. You remember that time all our classmates were killed right in front of us? Yeah, I do too. That part of business school sucked. Now, there are side quests. It's not just go do exactly what the main quest, tells you to do. I mean, you can do that if you so wish it. I guess that really goes without saying in any RPG, but this is an example of a side quest, or is that later? I remember someone like this gives you a side quest later. I think it's a different building now that I think about it, but... yeah, like I said, everything you can look at pretty much has its own description. There's only one little minor, I don't know if you want to call it a glitch, or if the developer's not aware of it yet. If you're watching this developer... I'm gonna guess you should probably be able to look at things below you, but it seems like you can only look at things above you. I don't think that's probably intention, but it might well be. I might just be stupid. If it is, I apologize for that, but... just something I've noticed a little bit myself, Exploration usually pays off in these kind of games, so it is something to go around looking for stuff. And I believe that guy's on the ceiling, or the roof. I just didn't really... noticed that for a while. Now that I look at it first off, I'm like, oh, that's obvious. He's on the roof now. But there's the little hub area. If you actually... oh, excuse me. Remember where you're supposed to go to the office, the law, or the financial district? I believe we're supposed to go to the office district to meet our boss. Which... there's a few sayings in the office world about how credit travels up, blame travels down. And this guy is pretty much the epitome of it. But what fun would that be? I'm going to go look for everybody's house through everybody's house first. Because it's an RPG and you should do that. Oh sure, it's considered probably stealing in some people's, moral grounds, but I don't know what I was looking for there, but I mean, if you don't take advantage of every resource you got in a world like this, full of just survival of the fittest, you're not going to last very long. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, as if such a world could be called sunshine and rainbows in the first place. As you'll find out, a lot of people are not really happy here. But it's... well, I guess that mirrors the workplace as well. How many people you know, if you're working in an office like this, how many people you know are actually happy with their jobs? Of course, this game kind of strikes a little close to home for me, because I'm a paper pusher myself. So I guess that's one of the reasons I really like this game, is just because I'm like, oh yeah, a lot of this is about like what I think in real life too. Of course, I don't just go wandering around into people's houses. That's it's generally considered rude, and I think it might be a felony in some places. But here's our first real battle besides a stapler. It's like a first little mini boss thing, the Rat King. Combat reallys. Yeah, I didn't even notice there's a pay-to-win thing. Pay $1,000 just for the enemy to lose. I've never used it. I don't recommend you probably should use it unless you are just plain stuck. But if you have a crap load of money and you don't want to fight something, I guess you could do that. And for the record, I'd never really found a use for the briefcase toss yet. Mayhap later when you get a better briefcase it might do more damage, but I'm not sure yet. It does just about as much as a physical attack at this point in the game. Now, some crates are too big. Yes, I'm guessing you might be able to get something later to remedy that. Maybe not. I know you get a crowbar pretty early on, I remember that. But that doesn't really do anything for the big crates, that's really more for the small crates. But yeah, the bottled water, I believe, is, I'm going to guess, for a different party member that uses the different resource. I used TP, I don't remember what was the other one, MP, I don't remember. I remember someone saying you need bottled water if you're going to be using a lot of skills like that. So it does pay to pay attention to what you're doing and not just sell everything. That was a... alright, that was the really disturbing one that just made me go, alright then, and just walk off. They have a bomb in his head. There's a bomb in the lasagna. And nobody knew what that reference was to. Oh, my childhood, folks. That's the kind of stuff I watched. People yelling, there's a bomb in the lasagna. Now, some of these places are downright creepy inside. Namely, from what I recall, the bike shop was just one of those, holy crap. Who came up with this? It's eerily right. Have you ever been inside a bike shop? Like the one near here, pretty much on spot on. Now, that's not to say that they just put, bikes every which way like they do here, but more along the lines of, it's always huge! And there's never an employee around when you want one. Why do I know this? Bach, I thought you didn't even ride bikes. No, I don't. But I've been with people who do ride bikes who don't buy one. There's never an attendant around when you want one. Never is. Of course, the whole looping thing, if that was looping, is kind of a video game exclusive, but sometimes you gotta hold on to a few exclusive rights in video games if you want to be unique, I guess. Now, these suits, I think, are really just like armor. I don't think, I might be wrong, I've only played about half an hour so far, I don't think that they have any storyline purpose. Like you would imagine, if you had a nice suit, the boss would think you're a little nicer, and maybe, say something in dialogue, but I don't think it does. I think it's more just, you take less damage, boom, that's it. Is it worth it? I don't know. I wanted a nice suit, though, so I have a nice suit now. Because who wants to walk around with a... Now I think about it, I'm walking around with a paper hat on and a nice suit. I think most people would probably call me crazy in this game. I'm walking around with a nice suit and a paper hat on, okay then. And now we get to a guy who's dead in his house. Like I said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows here. But my first thought is not, hey, let's check on the guy, maybe he's still alive. It's no, I'm gonna steal everything he owns, because screw him, he doesn't need it anymore. Maybe this is like a narrative on the human condition or something, man. I mean, we could check on if this guy's okay, but let's steal from him first and then check on him. That's the American way. That's the American way. Oh yes, I can't read that right now because I'm on a preview window, but I remember this being pretty disturbing. The only thing I really remember from this whole thing is the last line about don't go into the painting, which my first thought was back to Dark Souls. And I was like, yeah, probably should follow that. Don't go into the painting. If you never played Dark Souls, go into the painting. I think you need an item for that first back in the first place, but that's not what this thing's about. So if you do want to go into the painting, I do recommend you go back to the phone, which I think is up the stairs on the left. You just gotta navigate around the buildings, because it's an old-timey game, and there's no depth perception, so it's all just one big obstacle. So yeah. After you go back in there, you're going to realize just why they said don't go into the painting. Funny enough, I don't think you actually do have to go into the painting. I think this is a side area. But, I mean, you don't have to, like, grind or anything to get ready for this area, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Now, I'm sure some people are going to draw some kind of parallels between what in the heck's going on here and other, things, but I just enjoy the game for what it is. I don't want to get into a political commentary about this or that or anything like that. It's, one of the joys of this game is figuring out all that stuff for yourself and not having it, really explained to you. And to be fair to the creator, this is a really well done thing, but, some of it, if you're not that smart, you're just not going to really understand that, and I think I know what they're going for here. I just found it funnier more than anything. Now this boss, as I recall, he's not too bad. I think he has quite a bit more health than the first little Rat King. And he does quite a bit more damage, but I mean at this point again you should have enough sandwiches that you don't just die. If you do, well, that'd be a first, I'd imagine. Excuse me, I'd imagine that'd be a first, but... I mean, it's about like Earthbound. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I mean it plays just like it. If you like that. 60 cents is... What kind of price is that to give a few hours? I think I heard on a review somewhere it's like 5 hours long. I mean, it's a fun game. For 60 cents, you can't really beat 5 hours of entertainment. With the commentary, the narrative, the way it is. I mean, it's not the most original, but what the hell is nowadays, right? There's nothing original anymore. It's just, is it fun to play? At least that's the question for me, and the answer for this is a resounding yes. So, after you go back here, I think you can... Actually, I'm just doing side quests right now. I was going to oh wait, I think we can do the main quest now, which I think is in here. This is a side quest here. Now, this side quest will take you to the first dungeon. And if you don't actually pay attention in the first dungeon, you can easily miss the resolution to the side quest, but I don't recommend that you do that. I do recommend that you do the side quest. The side quest involves going down to the basement, and here I am trying to figure out how the hell do I even get to the basement, considering I didn't think I saw a bee there. I'm not quite sure how that works. Eventually the bee does show up. Oh, excuse me, I think the bee does eventually show up after you go to, like, to every floor besides it. Or maybe that's after you talk to the boss. I think it's after you talk to the boss. The boss is on the... what floor is that? Have you taken care of those errands? I kept thinking, have you taken care of those errands? Have you taken care of those errands? And I'm sure somebody's going, oh, for God's sake, not that again. Why are you quoting such a thing? I remember one of these was being very funny about one of these telemarketers was revolutionizing something to the extent the world's never seen before. I'm not going to spoil every single thing because obviously we only have a few minutes left in the Let's Look At. But these are the kind of little things you can look forward to if you decide to buy it, and I do recommend that you do that if you enjoy this kind of game. Because, I mean, I like the combat, but let's face it, the reason we're buying this is probably to get a few giggles out of the, the descriptions and the storyline. At least that's why I bought it. So I'm not going to spoil all of it. I mean, the first 20 minutes is the first 20 minutes. I mean, if you're not going to buy the game because you don't like the first 20 minutes, then let's face it, you probably weren't going to buy the game in the first place. I guess that's an assumption I shouldn't make. It's rude, but this is the boss. He's pretty much the stereotype we've all come to know and hate if you work in business whatsoever. If you don't work in business, you'll probably be... well, no, I was going to say something else, but this is a pretty accurate depiction of business, really, when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it. I'm not too happy to say that, considering I work in the business world, but pretty accurate depiction all in all, really. I mean, you can go up in the roof and whatever the floors. I recommend you do all these things, but I don't remember exactly. Oh yeah, you get the crowbar right on the, right here. Right. I was trying to remember where you got the crowbar. Right. So yay, it's not meant to be used as a weapon. So of course the first thing that I attempt to do is equip it as a weapon. Because hell, if it works for Gordon Freeman, who I don't even like Half-Life in the first place, but if it worked for him, yeah, maybe it'd work for me. Unfortunately, he was not lying. It is not a weapon. I guess that's kind of fitting. I want to jump, but, yep, so I just go, oh, I can't push him off. That's the business world, man. Someone's loss is your gain. It's already affecting me, and it's already affecting the way I think. And, no, that's not darkness. There's just no floor. I thought that was darkness too. Okay, there's just not a floor there. Why there's not a floor, I don't know. Did they just build a little platform over there and just forget to put the rest of the floor in? Or is that like hovering? Or I don't know. No one really knows. So I just walk off, because there's nothing I can really do here at the moment. I think after this point you could go down to the basement. I don't remember why it shows up now, but I think you can. Oh, excuse me. And I think this is just about the end of it. I think I show you how to get to the actual thing. I don't remember what I did here, because it's been about a good 20 minutes, and, I have the memory of a goldfish, but... oh well, all in all, like I've probably said a few times too many, this thing, I do recommend this game if you like this, but if you are... you just don't like the art style, or if you just, don't like RPGs of this style, then you may want to give it a pass. But, for only 60 cents, is it really going to make or break you if you want to try it? No, it's probably not. If it does, then... you know what, let's just not... The briefcase 5,000. I want that briefcase. It's always the case when you see something like that you want it. You didn't think you wanted it before, but when you see that commercial, you go, huh, I kind of like to have that. And that's how they... oh, wait, why'd I go back in here? Oh, right, because the guy said it smelled in there, and I forgot which house this was. That's something or other. Golden showers for all. Pretty much how the business world works, yo. That's it. I mean... I could go back to that old EA Sports saying, but I'm afraid I'd be sued by them, and this channel would be taken down. Even if it was from South Park, I'm not going to risk it. Okay, so, After we go back in here, I think I go back to the elevator straight off here. If I don't, I really should have. Okay, so I just went back to the... I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just wandering around blindly. Which is an okay option too, you know, in an RPG. It tends to happen. Now there's a B. And that's how you get there. I don't know why it showed up now. But I'd recommend you just go around and talk to a bunch of people and then... And this is the first dungeon. There are a lot of random encounters here, but thank you guys very much for watching. This is going to be the end of it. I don't want to spoil any more. And hopefully I shall see you next time. Farewell everyone, until next time.